Welcome back, and today I'm going to be providing my full ranking of every companion in Doctor Who. That includes everyone who has travelled with any of the Doctors in the TARDIS in both Classic and New Who. Little confession to make. For those of you who have seen my New Who companion tier list already, you may notice two companions in this list that were not featured in the tier list, and that is for the very important reason that I just entirely forgot they existed. Naturally, that puts them both in the Doctor Who tier, in case you were wondering. Also, a couple of quick disclaimers. First, I'll be talking characters, not any of the actors who portrayed them. And second, this is my list based on my personal opinions. I have tried to order everyone based on qualities that make them good and bad companions. It's not necessarily about who my favourite characters are in general. However, everyone has their own opinions, and that is totally fine. I look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments. Well, we have 69 companions to get through, and I don't want to keep you here all day, so I'll try to be quick with this. If you want more detailed opinions on these characters, you'll have to check out my tier lists. Anyway, on with the list. In last place is Lady Christina de Souza. Nothing about this character pleases me or makes me root for her. She should be in prison. In 68th place is Adric. Hate that little shit. Honestly though, he would have been higher were he not such a massive chauvinist and a narcissistic idiot. In 67th place is Vizsla Turlough. I also hate this guy, and it doesn't help that he started out his time in a trilogy of adventures where he tried to kill the Doctor. However, he did appear to develop positively by the end of his time on the TARDIS. In 66th place is Adam Mitchell. I still think he gets a bad rap from the fans, but I mean, the guy did willingly get a chip implanted in his brain. For such a genius, he sure is an idiot. In 65th place is Ryan Sinclair. Bland and kind of useless. I have to be honest, I just didn't like Ryan. In 64th place is Craig Owens. He may have defeated the Cybermen with the power of love, but I don't love this character. In 63rd place is Kazran Sardik. Completely forgot he existed, can't lie to you. The thing with this guy is that he may have been sweet as a kid, but as an adult he sucks. In 62nd place is Chameleon. An interesting concept, but executed poorly. In 61st place is Captain Mike Yates. I hate putting Yates this low, I do. But he did betray the entire world, so... In 60th place is Katerina. Poor Katerina. She never really stood a chance, did she? In 59th place is Joy Almondo. An alright character in general, but a poor companion. In 58th place is Abigail Pettigrew. Again, I forgot about this character before, but she did travel with the 11th Doctor for technically the rest of her life. She was sweet and all, but we didn't really get to see how she performed on adventures. In 57th place is Victoria Waterfield. Another very sweet character, but she didn't really do very well during her time on the TARDIS. And she didn't really want the life of adventure anyway. In 56th place is K9. Useful to the characters, not so much to the actors. In 55th place is Dr. Grace Holloway. She performed open heart surgery in an opera gown, ended up killing her patient, and then willingly let a man who she believed to be dangerously insane into her house. In 54th place is Purba Gillian Brown. Peri just wanted her 3 months of travel before uni, and instead she had to deal with the Master, the Rani, Cybermen and Daleks. In 53rd place is Susan Foreman. Susan was the first companion in Who history, but her character kind of peaked in her first episode, and then descended into just being a typical screamer. I do like Susan, but let's be honest, she didn't really make for the best companion. In 52nd place is Astrid Peth. She wanted to travel the stars, and instead she ended up becoming them. In 51st place is Jackie Tyler. She did not, in fact, get killed by a Christmas tree, and we are very glad of it. In 50th place is Ben Jackson. Ben was good against the Cybermen, but for most of his time on the TARDIS, I honestly kept forgetting he was there. In 49th place is Polly Wright. As with Ben, I constantly forgot Polly was there, and also her character changed from being a career girl into just a carer for a man. Annoying. In 48th place is Wilfred Mott. Oh, Wilf. I do love Wilf. We all love Wilf. What a great character. As companions go though, we've seen better. In 47th place is Graham O'Brien. From one granddad to the next, Graham was alright. I can't lie though, I didn't really see a character. All I saw was Bradley Walsh. In 46th place is Jackson Lake. Jackson had a pretty bad time of it, losing his wife and his child, but he helped the Doctor out anyway, and managed to save his son in the process. In 45th place is Carvanista. We didn't get to see much of his time with the Fugitive Doctor, but from what we saw of him with the 13th, I reckon he would have been alright. In 44th place is Commander Inston V. Vinder. Vinder is good in Flux, but when he returned in The Power of the Doctor, I can't deny I had entirely forgotten who he was. In 43rd place is Captain Adelaide Brooke. Adelaide is a great character in the single episode in which she appears, and she shows the Doctor that even his actions have consequences. In 42nd place is Tamsin Drew. I love Tamsin's appearances in the 8th Doctor's 4th audio series. She was a good enough companion, if not perfect, but I think overall she's a great character. In 41st place is Brian Williams. Brian is a man who comes prepared, and we love to see it. I love Brian's inclusion in the series and his relationship with Rory and Amy. He wasn't given much time to shine as a companion, but I do think he would have been great as part of a duo with the 11th Doctor. In 40th place is Mickey Smith. Now Mickey gets a bad rap from the fans, but he actually grows so much as a character over his time on the show, and by the end he really is a great character and companion. In 39th place is Belle. Belle is one kick-ass woman, and I loved her in Flux. I would not have been opposed to her being a full-on companion in a series. In 38th place is Ruby Sunday. Despite where I placed her in my tier list, I don't actually hate Ruby, until that final episode of Series 15. She's actually a decent character and companion. My main issue with her is that she's just bland, and all of her best moments were after she left the TARDIS. In 37th place is Dan Lewis. I had zero hope for this character going into Series 13, but Dan surprised me. He was light-hearted and funny, and considering how he started his time in the TARDIS, I think he did really well. In 36th place is Anita Benn. Okay, so she didn't technically travel in the TARDIS with the Doctor, but she was his companion for a full year, so I'm counting her. Anita completely stole the show in Joy to the World, and I would have loved to see her in more episodes. Having said that, her character was also ruined for me in the last episode of Series 15. Moving on. In 35th place is Melanie Bush. I love Mel. She's adorably sweet and fun, but she didn't really get much in the development department. In 34th place is Dr. Harry Sullivan. Harry was actually a much better inclusion in the show than past me gave him credit for. He may be forgettable to me, but he was clever and very useful when it came to landmines. If only he'd been around for Boom. In 33rd place is Rosita Farisi. Rosita should have been the 10th Doctor's companion for all of his special episodes. She was fantastic, and deserved a way better ending than being hired as Jackson Lake's nanny without even being asked if she wanted the job. In 32nd place is Barbara Wright. Without Barbara, we wouldn't have Doctor Who. The idea of having a history teacher in the TARDIS was a brilliant one, and something that I wish had been explored a little more during the historical series that we got during Barbara's run. In 31st place is Belinda Chandra. Okay, so Belinda would have been so much higher in this list had the last 4 episodes of her run just not happened. But the Belinda we spent most of Series 15 with was a fantastic character, and it is criminal that she was assassinated in such a way. In 30th place is Yasmin Khan. I rather liked Yaz, and I thought she was the best of the 13th Doctor's companions. However, even she didn't get all that much development over her time on the show, despite being with the 13th Doctor from beginning to end, though that was mostly due to the large TARDIS team during that era of the show. In 29th place is Sergeant John Benton. I wish Benton had have made later appearances in the show like the Brigadier did. Benton was loyal not only to UNIT, but to the Doctor also, which made him an invaluable member of the UNIT family. In 28th place is Nyssa. Nyssa was a great companion during her time on the TARDIS. Intelligent and empathetic, she trusted both the Doctor and her own instincts to save the day. In 27th place is Stephen Taylor. Stephen had the unenviable task of replacing Ian and Barbara in the 2nd season of the classic era, but he did it really well. Steadfast and loyal, as well as being protective of Vicky and Dodo, Stephen was just brilliant. In 26th place is Amy Pond. Amy was a good companion, but she fell into the typical Moffat trap that the vast majority of his female characters did, and it really did not endear her to me when she threw herself at the Doctor the night before her wedding. And then again on her actual wedding night, in front of her new husband. In 25th place is Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, better known as the Brigadier. Ah, the Brigadier. Friend to at least 6 Doctors on screen, as well as 2 off screen, and then 3 more in expanded media. There is a reason the Brigadier is so beloved by the fans, and I personally believe he only got better as a companion with each respective appearance on the show. In 24th place is Nardole. Say what you will about Nardole, but he was a very useful guy to have around. And he has a licence to kick the Doctor's arse when required. In 23rd place is Captain Jack Harkness. Jack was a clear standout character back in 2005, and I completely understand why he was not only brought back into the show in series 3 and 4, but also why he was chosen to lead the spin-off Torchwood. A great character with a rich backstory and ever loyal to the Doctor. In 22nd place is the Paternoster Gang. I love this trio of characters. I think they are such a wonderful addition to the show, and each of them has their own skill set to bring to the table. Not only are they helpful to the Doctor, but they also bring a comedic element in their appearances. In 21st place is Rose Tyler. Rose was my very first companion, and I was extremely pro-Rose when I was young. However, as much as she is a great companion to the Doctor in her seasons, she eventually became a bit too much of a long-lost love story, and her treatment of Mickey especially means I cannot place her higher in this list. In 20th place is Dodo Chaplet. I can't deny, I adore this little weirdo. Dodo was a breath of fresh air in the TARDIS and was utterly unfazed by most things, including the TARDIS itself. She outsmarted the Toymaker and held a Wild West outlaw at gunpoint. I love her. In 19th place is Professor River Song. This character started out as a tragic mystery, with layers of depth being provided with each recurring appearance. She was terrific in the TARDIS, and I love her relationship with the Doctor even more with every rewatch. In 18th place is Jo Grant. An adorable addition to the unit team, Jo had the courage of a lion. She helped to beat the Master on several occasions, even successfully shushing him in one episode. She also had a lot of heart and was such a sweetie. In 17th place is Ian Chesterton. Science teacher turned adventurer, Ian was the protector of the first TARDIS team back in 1963. He was brave and good and never shied away from telling the Doctor just what he thought about their travels. The first team wouldn't have been the same without him. In 16th place is Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. The Scully to the Doctor's Mulder, Liz Shaw was a great companion, and I wish she'd have stayed longer. In 15th place is Vicky Pallister. I love Vicky. I really wanted her in the top 10, but I just couldn't find an honest way to do it. She is so sweet and used her intelligence to solve problems. Originally brought in as a granddaughter figure replacement for Susan, Vicky quickly sealed herself in my esteem in her very first serial. In 14th place is Clara Oswald. I used to love this character, to the point where she would have been within the top 3 easy. But her time on the show is just so messy, and the sudden changes to her character each season was very jarring. But aside from that, I still believe that Clara served the Doctor well as his companion, and provided a good amount of pushback during her time in the TARDIS. In 13th place is Romana Dvora-Trulunda. Academically smarter than the Doctor, Romana was initially chosen as his companion by the White Guardian, but found herself enjoying their adventures. Having another Time Lord in the TARDIS was absolutely brilliant, and I loved their light bickering, as well as watching Romana's strength and courage grow over her time with the Doctor. In 12th place is Sarah Jane Smith. A fan favourite, Sarah stood out for all the right reasons. She was the best choice of classic companion to lead her own spin-off show, and I completely understand why she is so very loved by the fandom. In 11th place, and just missing out in a place in the top 10, is Bill Potts. The best written of all of Moffat's main female characters, Bill deserves way more respect in this fandom. She was strong and kind, and a perfect companion for the 12th Doctor in Series 10. Her time on the TARDIS may have been short, but she made a huge impact. And just before we get into the top 10, I have an honourable mention. Tallulah 3 Ls and an H Francis. Though she's not technically a companion, and she only appeared in 2 episodes, Tallulah stole my whole hearts. Oh, how I wish she'd have stayed with the Doctor as a companion. What a series that would have been. Brave, strong, loyal Tallulah was an absolute queen. Anyway, with our honourable mention out of the way, we can finally get into the top 10. So, drumroll please. In 10th place is Missy. This sometimes evil Time Lady may have started out as a villain, but she had the best arc in the whole show, and I loved every minute. Though her time as a companion may have started as reluctant assistance, Missy soon showed that deep down she does indeed have hearts that work. Every time the Master has had to help the Doctor, they generally end up screwing him over, but with Missy, she was willing to stand by his side and make the ultimate sacrifice. It was beautifully tragic that she ended up making that very sacrifice without witness instead. But the point is, she turned back. In 9th place is Tegan Jovanka. Right from her very first moment on screen, Tegan intrigued me, and she only got better from there. Fierce and empathetic, Tegan brought the much needed human touch to the 5th Doctor's team. Ever forthright, she never tired of telling the Doctor just how bad a pilot he was, and even got a few parting shots in with the Master during her time on the show. And after her time in the TARDIS, Tegan took to campaigning for civil rights back in Australia. So all in all, she's a truly terrific character. In 8th place is the one and only Donna Noble. Donna is absolutely one of the best characters and companions we have ever had on Doctor Who. Hilarious and with so much heart, Donna was a perfect companion for the 10th Doctor. Her second departure from the TARDIS was heartbreaking, but thankfully not lasting, as she was brought back for a third time for more madness with the 14th Doctor. Donna was a huge reason why the 4th series of New Who was just as brilliant as it was, and the character gave Catherine Tate a chance to prove that she isn't just an amazing comedian, but also a very talented dramatic actress as well. In 7th place is Ace. The bravest teen to ever enter the TARDIS, Ace was just what the Doctor ordered when she made her debut in Dragonfire. Ace was brilliant in every way. She was smart and brave, creating her own explosives and going toe-to-toe with both Daleks and Cybermen. She also came with an intriguing backstory, unique amongst classic Who companions. The duo of the 7th Doctor and Ace was a wonderful pairing, and they are one of my absolute favourite TARDIS teams. In 6th place is Lucy Bleeding Miller. Lucy travelled with the 8th Doctor during his 8th Doctor Adventures audio series, and very quickly became one of my all-time favourite companions. Placed under the Doctor's protection by the Time Lords with no explanation, she and the Doctor often butted heads and had some of the best banter in the Whoniverse. But aside from the comedic aspects, Lucy is one of, if not the, strongest companions the Doctor has ever had. Lucy went up against evil Time Lords, several Daleks, Cybermen, Ice Warriors, giant spiders, and a dreaded office job, all with a quip at the ready and nothing but her street smarts, and sometimes the Doctor, to help her. Look, I know I plug Big Finish a lot, but seriously, if you listen to nothing else from them, please listen to the 8th Doctor and Lucy Miller box sets. You will not regret it. In 5th place is the king that is Rory Williams. Rory started off his time on the show as just Amy's boyfriend, and then Amy's fiancé, and then Amy's dead fiancé. Then Amy's alive again, but not really fiancé, before becoming fully alive and human again later on. The point is, his whole story seems to revolve around Amy Pond. And while that is mostly true, Rory is the best part of the team he's on. Rory is such a strong character and so incredibly loyal to Amy. He really does wear his whole heart on his sleeve, but that does not prevent him from telling the Doctor off when he needs to. Rory may have felt like a bit of a weakling in his first appearances, but once Amy is threatened, he really comes into his own and proves just how strong he is. In 4th place is Zoe Herriot. Zoe! I love Zoe! She was a shining star during the 2nd Doctor's run, and I am so sad that she was only there in one full season. Zoe was an astrophysicist and an absolute genius, even brighter than the Doctor himself. She had a strict, logical mind, but as she started travelling with the Doctor, she developed an almost childlike wonder at the marvels of the universe. Zoe was part of one of the best TARDIS teams in the whole history of the show, and she certainly shines in her own right as well. On to the final 3 now, and I have to say, making this ranking was difficult enough as it was, but the top 3 especially was extremely tricky to pin down. Coming in 3rd place is Martha Jones. Another single season companion, Martha is, by far, the best companion of the new era. Her time on the TARDIS was marred by poor writing choices regarding her character and the unrequited love story with the 10th Doctor. But ignoring that, she showed such courage throughout her run, most especially during the finale of Series 3, where she set out completely on her own for an entire year and managed to save the whole world from the Master. I think she may be the only character other than Jo and the Doctor to have laughed in the Master's face and survived. Martha has an inner strength that I can only aspire to, and she is truly amazing. The runner-up is quite possibly my favourite non-evil character in the whole Whoniverse. Taking 2nd place is my ultimate queen, Leela. Warrior of the Sever Team and of Gallifrey, Leela is one of the best characters ever. Strong, fierce and loyal, Leela proved her mettle every time she stepped across the TARDIS threshold. Leela was fearless to a fault and had the sharpest instincts of any human, having the ability to sense danger and even lies. While Leela never strayed from her more violent tendencies, her time with the Doctor allowed her curiosity to shine through, and she was always eager to learn more about the universe. Leela was fiercely protective of the Doctor, and placed every single piece of trust she had in him. I was personally heartbroken when she left, but thankfully Big Finish had me covered with countless hours of Leela content, in both 4th Doctor Adventures and the Gallifrey series. I love Leela to no end, and it pained me not to put her in the top spot on this list. Speaking of, in first place on my complete Doctor Who companion ranking is James Robert McCrimmon. Well, of course Jamie was going to come at the top of this list. I mean, really, who else was going to be in first place? Jamie was the long-running companion to the second Doctor, only missing out on participating in his full run by a single serial. And boy was Jamie brilliant. He may have been from the 18th century, but Jamie learned fast and was able to understand future concepts like flying beasties in a short time. The loyalty he had to the Doctor was firm, but that loyalty never stopped Jamie from speaking his mind and calling the Doctor out when required. Jamie is honestly one of the best companions to ever grace our screens, and there just wasn't any way I could put any companion other than him at the top of this list. And that is my full ranking of every single companion in Doctor Who history as of 2025. I hope you don't absolutely hate me for my choices, because this was really hard to do, and I had to reorder the entire list 3 times over before I was finally able to settle on the current ranking. If you stuck around for this long, I thank you, and I wish you all a very happy new year. Bye!